Hey Internet, Eric here, and as you can see, I am not here alone. This is actually a very special. This is a special episode of Hey Internet Interviews
Ooh,
here. The reason why I say that is my guest is actually the reason why I got into interviewing content creators and pro wrestlers and actresses and directors. If it wasn't for this guy right here, he's the one to blame, people. Here I have Patrick from the YouTube channel Have Cheetah Will View. Patrick, thank you very much on this Friday night as we're recording to sit down and to shoot the shit with me. I really appreciate it.
oh man, thanks for having me back on, Eric. Man, it's been a while since you and I really done this as far as the interview thing. So I'm looking forward to getting into it with you and seeing what you got up your sleeves.
Yeah, this is the first time I've had you on my channel before on live streams, but this is the first time I've actually had you as an interview subject or a guest, I guess you say, because I've been on your channel, oh God, twice for an interview. We've interviewed Adam Marcus together twice, and it's because of you. You helped me get, basically shit or get off the pot with Adam because I've been wanting to interview him so long that I finally reached out to him and we had a fantastic interview. Um,
Yeah,
Patrick,
definitely
I
one of
always
the best.
go ahead.
Definitely one of the best people to interview. He's a great interview.
He's one of those guys that I love him because he doesn't hold back. And you are it's amazing some of the things he says. Shout out to Ginger Ninja and Jen's reviews from the grave in the chat. Thank you guys for joining us. Um, Patrick, I always like to start these interviews with how I came to know, I guess you'd say, the person I am interviewing. And that's an interesting story. I don't know how deep
Mhm.
we're going to delve into that cesspool. And when I say that, I'm saying it correctly. Patrick can verify. I met Patrick. Oh God, trying
Before
to
I
think.
before I started YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna think it was 10 years. No, I've been on YouTube 10 years, so almost 10 years ago. I've at least known you contact wise because we were dealing with a certain internet bully together.
Yes.
And I don't know how deep you want. We won't name him as of right now. We
No.
won't name him.
No.
There's no need to give him any type of platform because the
Exactly.
guy's pushing 500 pounds and he'd probably break the platform. I still got to get my little jabs in at him. He was just this very vile, disgusting, mean, violent person that I was dealing with on a personal level. And I got tired of just seeing how he was treating people. And I'm not going to lie, I made a air quotes secret YouTube page or YouTube channel that was exposing all of his situations. I make sure I had receipts to prove that I was not lying. And I don't know how you found that YouTube channel and you started commenting about your interactions with said person. And then that's how we met on Facebook through our current, I guess you'd say, profiles. And then we just kept in touch and then we started collaborating on YouTube together. But correct me if I'm wrong, that is how we personally came to know each other.
Yeah, this person was attacking a couple of friends of mine. One of them was being Chris Alexander, who was the editor of Fangoria at the time, and he was going after him and another gentleman from named Mike White. He had a zine too, as well, and he was going after both of them really strong, and especially Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't like that at all. So I stepped
Mm-hmm.
into it, and I didn't look for it. It just happened. I didn't know who the hell this guy was. All
Mm-hmm.
I know is that Chris was like doing a great job, and this guy was just attacking him for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I got into it with him and watched the fur fly for a little bit, and his fur, not mine.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, and then I met you, and then you just took it upon yourself to crush him, and yeah, you did, still are. He can't breathe. I've always put it like this. He got him so twisted that when he takes a shit, he has to ask you for permission to wipe his ass, because that's where you're at. Yeah, definitely, you're one of my heroes for taking on a very, very vicious human being. Wouldn't want to wish him on anybody. He is
Ye-
he. But then again, he's absolutely in fear of you.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's just a vile, disgusting creature, is what he is. He's one of those people that's mad at the world, and he's definitely not all there mentally. But I've always said that doesn't give you an excuse to treat people like crap. And when I was
Yeah.
making these videos, you were under a different channel name, and I don't know if we hooked up through telling each other our real names or sending emails or something, but that's how you and I got together. And after I finally got this guy to leave me alone as much as because he crossed the line and bringing in family and stuff like that. Once I got him to leave me alone for the most part, he still every now and then he'll try to poke the bear, and I shut him up, type of thing. Um, because of him, getting him out of my life, you and I have still continued this friendship and this collaboration. And it's been an interesting ride, Patrick, through different, get-togethers, me on your channel, you on mine, and doing videos together. But if anything good can come out of that disgusting tub of goo that we both dealt with, it was this connection and this friendship that you and I have. So it's like I always say, I can find the good in all the bad.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, something really good came out of it. One, our friendship, and
Hmm.
two, the suppression of him, because he can't breathe without you being there.
Yeah.
He's always looking over his shoulder, because
Hmm.
and I know this, even though that he has blocked you.
Hmm.
He has not, because he doesn't know who I am,
Hmm.
underneath this channel anyway. And
Hmm.
so I still see him. He can't do nothing. It's ridiculous. It's he just
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
So that's great, because we need less bullies and more support. And
Hmm.
and so I think you did a great service. Like I said before, and I'm not afraid to say it again, but man, you're like one of my heroes for sure, for doing that, because
I,
in 10 years of being online, he easily is the most violent person I met.
yeah. Well, now that we got the trash out of the way, one thing I've never asked you is I guess you would say, like, I know who the cheetah is, but can you explain the origin behind Have Cheetah Will View, your YouTube channel name?
Sure. So, as many know or may not know, that I lost my wife in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
And I had another. We had, and within 5 months, I lost my whole family.
Yeah.
Our two cats, my wife, were gone in 2013. So I was really not in a good spot. And
Right.
so I heard that there was a clear the shelter day at this Huron Valley animal shelter, which was a no kill shelter, and someone had gave me a tip about that. So
Mm-hmm.
I went down, and Paladin, even though his name even though his name was Duncan, and I almost kept that name, but I
Mm-hmm.
had it in my head. I always wanted to have a Paladin. And so Paladin was his own cage. I tell people this because everybody thinks that like when I say he's a cheetah, they always think, oh, that's being really cute and everything. He's a cheetah. He's
Mm-hmm.
part cheetah. Well, trust me, you see him, you'll know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he had his own little cage. He had his own little container. He was all by himself,
Mm-hmm.
because he couldn't be with no regular domestic cats. So he was a loner. He was just alone. He's alone now. And so one of my favorite TV shows is Have Gun Will Travel, and I remember saying, if I ever get another cat, I want to name him Paladin, after the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my channel name came from. Is Have Gun Will Travel become Have Cheetah Will View. So and of course, you see him, like you used the picture of him for our discussion today. And
Yeah.
besides, he's much better looking than I am. Um, uh,
We
uh,
Patrick, you and I, we got the perfect face for radio. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, you're right. Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Um, So I got him there's another couple that were thinking about looking at him,
Mhm.
and I ran over, and I'm talking about sprinted, like, like a few steps, and grabbed this paperwork before they did. And I'm going like,
Nice.
I gotta take him. I gotta pick
Mhm.
him. And so that's how Paladin and I came together.
That's awesome. And that's what my co-host Melissa. We are
Yeah.
we're big on the whole saving animals. Adopt, don't shop, because they do. You save them and they save you, and she and you are perfect examples of that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely saved me. That's for sure.
That's good, and that's one thing I do like about your channel is it's like I said, we'll get into the interviews in a second, but you do the interviews. Your channel's everywhere. That's what I like about it. There's a little bit of everything. There's the interviews. There is movie reviews. You're jumping into television show now, like specific episodes now. Randomly, but specific episodes now. But what I also like is every now and then I'll get a random paladin short or something like that, whether it's him just annoying you on the bed or just walking around or stuff like that. There's just something about cat videos, for me personally, that just bring a smile to my face, even if it's just, excuse me, even if it's just him like laying out in the sun, doing absolutely
Right.
nothing. That's what's great about having a pet, having an animal. And I always tell people that they are your family. It's not, that's why, with Melissa, I call her dogs her kids. You know what I mean? That's what
Right.
Paladin is to you. And it's really hard to not literally just have a smile on your face, just watching a cat or a dog, but a cat in his case, just laying down there and then hearing them purr and playing and stuff like that. So that's one thing I just wanted to say that I really enjoy on your channel as well.
Well, they say that cats own the internet.
Oh
Who
yeah.
am I to who might argue that? I mean, you look around everywhere. There's just cats doing cat things.
Mhm.
It's dogs are really cute too. I mean,
Yeah.
dogs are really fun. But when you see someone set up their little camera, to do an exercise or do a video or what have you, or
Mhm.
and next thing you know, you see a cat face in front of the camera. It's just hilarious as hell, and you can't
Oh,
help but just laugh.
well, when the internet first got popular, there was that one video of the cat playing on the
Oh,
piano, or every time like
that's right.
when you're scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, people are throwing up those reels. It's always a cat making that weird face. You know what I mean? Like when like it's something shocking happening or something like that. So, but yeah, I just want to say I am glad that as random as your channel is, and I'm glad that you're not pigeonholing yourself into just one thing. I'm glad that you throw in some stuff of Paladin, because I like to see personally stuff behind the person making the content. And
Yes.
you don't really get, like Barb says, she loves the DVD hauls that you get from the library. I really like seeing the person behind the curtain. You know what I mean? That's why I've really enjoyed doing these interviews. I usually, like with the wrestlers, I start with the wrestling stuff and then we always go into a segue or something like that. So that's one thing I really like about your channel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I've learned that there's two ways you could approach YouTube.
Hmm.
One, you could go with the flow, or two, you could swim upstream.
Hmm.
And I decided to swim upstream, because everybody else is going one way.
Hmm.
If you notice, certain channels will do, like in the horror community, like uh, so they had the horror channel award, right, going around, and people kept on passing up on my channel because it wasn't a horror channel.
Hmm.
Yet it's like, if you actually take a good look at some of the content I put out, I do a lot of horror. It's
Hmm.
just that I do other things as well.
Hmm.
It's just that that's not being, it's going against, the algorithm. It's like,
Yeah.
uh, they don't know how to, push my channel, because
Hmm.
I do so many different things, but
Hmm.
I've gotten used to that. And so, you could change for that. You can sit there and say, well, I'm going to do Scream all the time, every day. Um, and then you could do that and you watch your channel build up.
Hmm.
That's what you want.
Hmm.
But as far as being a creator, you're not really a creator anymore. You're just, you know, you're sort of like slave to your channel. You're slave to your crowd. I mean, if you don't do what they want and give them what they want, then your numbers will go down.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never had the numbers to begin with, and you're just out there having fun, then you'll always just be having fun.
Well, that's a good thing. And you're my first guest because I know you so well that I don't have any questions. I have no bullet points, no nothing. This is all other than my last two questions that I ask everybody. I'm pulling everything out of my butt tonight. That's a good idea, a good segue. Have you ever been frustrated, and how do you deal with the frustration when you feel like you're swimming up the stream? Because I say it myself, I just like talking movies. I like doing the interviews, and I don't focus too much on the views. You know what I mean? But I will say this, and I can speak for myself. It is kind of frustrating sometimes when you do try to promote, you do try to, for you, like you get these interesting guests, or you want to talk about something that you're really passionate about. Does it frustrate you that you are swimming upstream, you're putting all this effort into it, and you're maybe 45 views, 50
Yeah.
views, or something like I always say, I always use this as an example. One of my favorite movies is The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke. And I think I did a very good video on that one, and I got maybe 50 views. But fucking, Leprechaun 4 in space is at 9,000 views or whatever it is. I do get frustrated sometimes when I put in all this effort and you have these people doing mukbangs and eating for 25 minutes, and you get thousands and thousands and thousands of views of them smacking their mouth and not using napkins, and then you put effort into doing something that you're really passionate about and getting 20 views. What is it that keeps you going? Did you ever like that this isn't for me anymore, or did you just say basically fuck it, I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do?
I just want to say thanks to Jen right here. She says one of the really cool things about Patrick's how generally kind he is, and he supports everybody in the community, and he's always shouting out his channels out to a very kind soul.
Thanks,
yeah, I like doing push ones. I know that Marty's doing that now. I'm gonna have to shout out Marty here. Marty has and Don Zombie as well has have taken, and I think and Jason too from Ninja.
Ninja. Yep.
They've all started pushing channels on their community board. I'm going to get into that action too. I'm going to start doing that as well because I really like that. We used to do pop-up videos where we do channel pushes. Yes. And I had a co-pilot, Jen Tochi, who I really miss when I do it. And we go out there and we sit up there for 2 or 3 hours, push everybody's channel. We were pushing everybody's channel, and it was a lot of fun. And I got away from that, except for once in a great while. But I enjoy doing that. That's a lot of fun because you're helping out a lot of people who need a push. Pushing over 1,000 or pushing over 500, and they're sitting there and they're stalled out, and you hear their frustration, like, how do I get this? How come I can't get any momentum? Well, here, let me see what I can do to get you a few heads. And so that's what we'll do. We'll get up there and people will come up, and then we'll just talk about their channel and just, random things. And then next thing you know, they got, 10, 15, 20, 25 people on their on the channel. And they never knew where it was coming from. That's the fun part. Cause I never tell anybody like, hey, I'm going to go online on Wednesday and push your channel. I don't ever tell anybody that. I just do it. I'm not looking for, we're not looking for a pat on the asses. We're just helping out the community. That's the reason why it makes it so much fun, because they get up in the morning, like, man, am I going to crack 1,000? Yeah. Then they wake up and lo and behold, they did. Yeah. And they're like, wow, where'd that come from? So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. But let's get back to the question. How do you deal with that frustration sometimes when you see somebody putting in zero effort, like for example, the mukbangers, and you put in all that effort and you're kind of struggling to find that algorithm, to break that algorithm? There's been times when I'm personally have been decided, it's not my thing. I don't want to do this anymore because it's a waste of time, until I got into the interviews and changed my tone. Was there ever a time when you were like, screw this, I don't want to do it anymore because you're putting all this effort in for air quotes nothing?
No, because because I do this for me.
Hmm.
I just
Okay.
do it for me. It's like if I'm the only one, like when I did the interviews, I started the interviews, and even now, because I'll be honest with you, I know I'm not the most popular person on here in our community. I know that. I know that by the numbers.
Hmm.
Um, and I know that by like some the chats in the interview, like because I put my content out early. Like once I book somebody, I'll make a little banner, a little thumbnail, and I'll put it up as soon as I can to promote
Right.
it. And I know that people, they know that I'm putting out content,
Hmm.
but I'm not sexy, and I understand that. I'm okay with that.
Look, like I
So
said, man, we're built for radio. I told you that.
right, but I've always had the idea, like, because I did 8 questions with on my blog,
I was going
and
to talk about
so
your blog. Yes.
it was a 1-to-1. It's like I go and ask somebody, hey, would you like to do an interview? And then it was the person and I just switching, talking.
Hmm.
There was no group chat room or anything else, just us. And so I just said, even if it's just me and the interview subject, I'm all right with that. Because
Hmm.
that's who I booked. I booked that person to talk to them. To
Hmm.
me, I want everybody to come along because it's a lot of fun,
Yeah.
you know. But I'll still talk, like, my motto is I'll talk to anybody who talks to me.
Hmm.
Uh, and if they want to talk and they want to reach out, we'll make it happen. And it doesn't matter what they do, or it doesn't always have to be a actor or a musician
Hmm.
or wrestler. It could be a YouTuber. It could be someone who rescues animals. I've
Hmm.
had that on the show. I've had a couple of animal rescuers. It could be a small business owner.
Hmm.
I don't care. Let's talk.
Yeah. It's a fun way to communicate, and like I was telling you, with some of the guests I have upcoming, like let's just say if they're a pro wrestler, that's the way I get my foot into the door when it comes to the conversation, because then when the tangents start happening and we get to see the people behind their professional life, you know what I mean? That's when I think the real meat and potatoes of the interview happens. You know what I mean? Like with Madman Pondo, I started with the death matches, and you had no idea what that was. So you were
No.
interested in that interview, and we talked wrestling stuff like that. But by the end of it, we're talking about him being in the movie 2001 Maniacs with Robert Englund and meeting Marilyn Manson and stuff like that. So that's what I really dig about these interviews. What, like you just said, you don't just do actors, you don't just do actresses, YouTubers, stuff like that. What do you think is the most unique, or if you don't remember their name, that's fine, but the most unique profession that you've had as an interview subject on your channel or blog?
Um. Wow. I would definitely. The most unique would probably be Calvin Tucker.
Okay.
Very well known animal rescuer based in Alabama.
Okay.
Um. Yeah. He's really he's pretty damn special. He works in hell. He works
Mm-hmm.
out of Bessemer, Alabama, and it's hell down there. And yet he's out there every day, rain or shine, feeding his animals,
Mm-hmm.
mostly cats. And when he first started, he really wasn't a cat person. He even said that. He says he wasn't a cat person. Um, he also had a rough start to life.
Mm-hmm.
And but he came out, and he found his little purpose, and he's done awesome. I mean, he's an amazing human being.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so much so that the governor actually commuted his record based on the fact that he has done so much good for the community.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an amazing man, and he's definitely. I mean, some of the stories he shared with me, both on and off camera, would
Mm-hmm.
you know he's been really good. And the metal sculpture, Kevin
Really? Okay.
Stone. Oh my lord, that guy's art is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, he builds like life size dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like if you saw Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
he built a working dragon the same size as the one in the movie. It's absolutely amazing how he works, how he creates. Um, I just was blown away by that. Very
How,
hard working him and his team. Yeah, that's crazy good.
how do you find like I understand like a lots of times like for me wrestling's my thing. I love independent wrestling, so those guys are easy to contact. You know, Lauren Marie Taylor and Beatrice Bupley, they are easy to contact because they're in the community. They do conventions and stuff like that. Where do you get the idea to contact someone like an animal rescuer, like someone specifically, or someone like a metal sculptor, or or just someone that air quotes isn't part of the regular type of interview group that you or interview subjects that you would see on YouTube because they're mainly, they're either wrestlers or actors and actresses, writer directors. How do you get that motivation? What gives you the idea to kind of go out of that bubble, and reach to someone that way?
Well, I just look at everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a story. Plus combine that with simple curiosity. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
how did you do that? It's like, and I want to know. I was like, how the hell did he how does he make those? It's like, or how the hell did he get his business off the ground? Or what makes him to go out there when it's snowing or raining to help animals? What drives him? What drives the person to do that? It's always but I think the key thing is curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Always wanting to know how they do it. Like a lot of people, like that's what really amazes me too. And this I've said this before, but I'll say this again. What
Mm-hmm.
really cracks me up about doing 8 questions especially with the producers, directors, and actors is you go to other channels and they have live streams and whatnot, and you'll see these people talk about their favorite movie. Jason, Michael, Art, and all they'll talk about the characters in the
Sure.
chat, and they're sitting there going, yeah, yeah, Scream and Terrifier, blah blah blah. And what really kills me is like there'll be like 30, 40 people in the chat, and then there's somebody who's actually gotten an interview, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like you're going to be interviewing, you interview Lauren Marie Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
and here you are, you got somebody who was actually in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
someone right there, and you can sit there and come over and see an interview and even send us some questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they don't do that. They don't follow. They don't because it's not cool. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna stay here with my friends and sit here and talk horror. But you got the creators behind you right here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the thing is, these are the same people that will go to conventions, pay $100 to get in, pay $20 for parking, pay $100 for food, stand in line for fucking 6 hours, pay another $80 for a picture and maybe an autograph of Laura Marie Taylor. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just using that as an example.
Mm-hmm. No, that's
And
fine.
yet here it is in our own community. People such as yourself, Al Lucard, John from Doomsday Crypt, Stephen House of Horrors. You get these interviews here in the community, and yet no one shows up. And you just sit there and you go like, wow, you sort of. I mean, this may seem a little heated a little bit,
No,
but
go ahead.
I just think I just look at the 30 people in the chat talking about horror. I just look at them as bandwagon fans. I don't really look at them as real
Mm.
fans at all. I just don't. It's like I don't get it. I mean, if you give me an opportunity to save $400 or $500 and get over and watch somebody like a Beatrice Bopley, I'm gonna run and do that all day long. I'm gonna come over and support that. And the thing is though, it's not because and Haley. I got to throw out Haley here. Shout out to Haley. Gory B movie. She talks to people now. In fact, she's been talking to a lot of people lately.
Yeah, I see her post on Twitter a lot that she's got a
Uh,
guest on. It's usually on Sundays, I think.
yeah, yeah. I'm so glad her and Danny are back in the saddle because they have been sorely missed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's the case. That's the case. You get somebody like like you know this from when we talked to Adam Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
We here we are, one of the most polarizing directors, one of the most polarizing movies. Everybody, there'll be 50 people in a chat talking about it. It's like, But now you have a chance to go over and ask them a question or two.
Mhm.
But you won't even take the time to go over there and explore it.
Yeah.
That frustrates me. That's
Well,
probably my biggest frustration.
how do you deal with as a host? Like I know I love like sometimes you get some people that I really dig or some people from my past. Like how do you deal when you have a situation like Corin Nemec? You had Corin Nemec on twice, and I know it did bug you that you didn't have a lot of turnout for that. How does that affect you as a host? Because I know you can't really show it too much because you don't want it to affect the guest. But how do you deal
Right.
with that when you get maybe two or three people in the chat, or do you not care? Or someone
Well,
like
one thing,
someone like Uwe Boll, who is I'm still jealous that you got Uwe Boll on your channel. I'm a huge supporter of him. How do you feel when you have someone who either is a name or Corin? No disrespect to Corin, he's still a working actor. His
yep.
name was bigger in the late '80s and early '90s. It was, but how do you deal with the fact that you're like, I got a great guest. He's got a great pedigree, a great IMDb profile or whatever, filmography, however you want to say it, and you get maybe two, three people in the chat. Does that affect you, or do you really not care?
I
Or
do
is it
care.
like
I care for
50-50?
I care for the guest. I mean, I
Okay.
really do. I mean, you always want to have a crowd for a guest. You always want to have
Mm-hmm.
an engaging audience. You really do. You want to have them come in there and communicate. And because before I hit, I didn't do a lot of my bigger name guests.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't start getting them till after I hit 500,
Mm-hmm.
because beforehand I would sit there and say I'm way too small for them. I don't want to, try to get someone to come out and do an interview when you have like 100 people on your channel.
Right.
That's tough. A lot of times you might get told no, and I've told, like I've mentioned before, out of all the people I talk to, 98% of them say no.
Okay.
So I concentrate on the 2% that say yes. And I do my best to try to get them to come on in and have a great time. And I've succeeded in that. And that's probably the one singular proud moment I have in the 8 question series
Mm-hmm.
is that one, you don't know what I'm going to be asking.
Yeah.
They don't either. I'll get them to go like, do you have questions? Preset questions. No, I don't. Because we're just talking.
Mm-hmm.
We're friends. We're friends. We're sitting down having a cup of coffee and we're just gonna rap.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that. And two, and they after the show's over with, because we go off camera, they'll compliment me on the show. They'll sit there and say, "You asked some really great questions. This is really refreshing. I like to come back." And
Mm-hmm.
so that's a sign of a good interview when
Mm-hmm.
they I've had a journalist tell me that. It says I could I I've been in journalism for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
That holds up with anything I've ever seen. I'm blown away by that because I'm not a journalist. I didn't go to college for it or
Mm-hmm.
anything. I'm just curious. That's really the secret of my success is I'm just curious.
Yeah. That's really cool. I like that. Before you started YouTube, you had a blog. I know a lot of it was movie reviews. Did you do interviews on that as well before you went to YouTube?
Yeah, actually that's where it started from.
How did you do that? Like was it like a video chat and then you just recorded it and retyped it, or was it emails back and forth? How did that work?
um well, what I would do is what I would do, and these I did off of Facebook, is I
Mm-hmm.
would go around and look for someone who was interesting to talk to, like,
Okay.
and then I would contact them through Facebook, and I sit there and say, "Hey, I have a interview series called 8 Questions with,
Okay.
and would you like to come talk? Would you be willing to answer some questions?" And they would sit there and say, "How does it work?" I say, "I'll send you 8 to 12 questions, and then you write back whatever your answers are."
Mm-hmm.
I said my only request was, no yes or no answers. Like take some thought into the answers.
Okay.
And if you just write yes or no, or I like working in this movie, and leave one sentence answers. I can't use it.
Right.
So feel free to write whatever you want, and whatever you write, other than for grammatical errors, I'm not touching. So whatever you send me is what I'm going to put up,
Okay.
because that's what happens with a lot of these Rolling Stone or Time or whatever. You go in there and see those articles, and they're edited.
Mm.
They're all cut to ribbons. It's not exactly what everything someone says. That's why sometimes, a lot of times, you'll hear a well-known personality complain about that, saying you took me out of context, because that's what they did. They edited it to fit the journalist's narrative, not the
Right.
artist,
That's why
not the interview.
I tell a lot of my guests before, when I'm trying to get these interviews, I tell them, I said, we're live on YouTube, so there will be no editing.
Right,
So that makes a lot of sense, because I want to get the people in their natural, air quotes, habitat. And that's kind of like, that sounds like that's what you were saying too. Like, no editing other than fixing the grammar and maybe punctuation and
right.
spelling.
So I started doing that. I started doing that, and I started getting some people answering me back, and I learned a lot on the way. I learned, I made mistakes when I was doing it, and I just got stronger at it.
Hmm.
And it was funny because someone else was doing interviews, and and all of a sudden, we started doing interviews on the midnight hour, and this person
Hmm.
says, "Oh, I see you ripped me off." It seems like people are ripping off my format, and I didn't want to hurt his feelings too bad, but I did mention that when you did your first interview, the one that you now are saying that we're all doing it, we're all taking from what you created.
Hmm.
I've done 130 over there on my blog, so I
Right.
was here way the hell before you were, and didn't hear anything back from him after that. Um, and I moved it. I decided to move it over here because we tried this. We tried this over on the midnight hour, and it really worked.
Hmm.
And so I said, well, why can't I take this and put it on my channel? Because I don't have any content. I don't, because until I was doing 8 questions, I didn't really have any. There wasn't a my channel wasn't doing anything. It really was
Hmm.
just really truly grinding, because I was doing interviews, but nobody was coming by for that.
Were they
And
pre-recorded?
my interviews,
Yeah. When
no,
on YouTube? Nope. They were still
no,
live when
no.
you first started
Yep,
doing them.
yep, yep. First, they were live. We did about 8 or 10 of them, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start doing it on my channel.
Okay.
We did call it 8 questions on the midnight hour. It was the midnight hour, but I already started 8 questions for my blog, so I just took the title there and put it onto the live show. And as of now, we've done over 600 of them. Uh, and there's one guy out there he's out. He's getting ready to hit 1,000. Greg Python. Don't
Okay.
know the guy, but I know his work. He's almost
Hmm.
hitting 1,000. Yeah, he's a good interviewer.
I'll
Um,
check them out.
but we've gotten over 600, and we got more coming, and they're a lot of fun. And they gave my channel a purpose, a direction,
Hmm.
which I'm very grateful for.
See, that's one thing. Like, you're only number 19 for me on my channel, and you got fucking 600. Um, let's we won't name any names, but what do you do, and what do you do when you have everything prepped and a guest cancels on you? And because
Yeah,
we don't have to name names, it's up to you. I'm not naming names. I've had that happen to me
I don't
before.
mind naming names,
Okay.
because you know what.
But I know you've dealt with that multiple times when you've had everything like
Um,
literally set up. You're live because on your channel you like to go live roughly 15 minutes before you bring them in, so you can get the
right.
chat going, maybe get some people in. What do you do? Like, what's the first thing that pops through your mind other than fuck when you get that
Okay.
message that they're either not going to make it or they just ghost you?
Let's see. Mayan says here, I'm here for Paladin. Hell yeah, that's what I'd be here for too.
Yep.
And AKA Al Ducard, the Bat. That's right. That's right. Al was with us for our Adam Marcus interview.
Yes, he was the very first
That's
one.
right. That's right. Um, so that happens once in a while, and I understand as part of the, it's part of it, like especially for actors, for working actors. You see this on conventions. A lot of people say that's some bullshit. They'll go up there and they'll sit there and say, Brad Pitt can't make it today, due to scheduling conflict, due to filming. A lot of people go up there and say, oh, that's some bullshit. He just didn't want to show up. No, that's 90% true, that they have to go somewhere and do something. So that happens. But sometimes, and a guest will come on, and I'll mention a name because I don't care.
Sure.
So there's a gentleman named Tim Shockley who had the Green Goblin, the ornament from Trucks. And so he
The
tours
Maximum
around
Overdrive truck, right?
right.
Gotcha. The Green Goblin. Yeah. Okay.
So he tours. He bought it. He restored it, and he tours the country on this ornament.
Right.
I mean, he'll pop up there, you can go there and take a picture with it. He's made a living off this ornament. Okay, so he knows how it works. Like a convention or what have you will reach out to him and ask him to come on to be a guest. They will sign a contract. He will show up and honor his contract. Okay, it's professionalism, right? He's so we invited him to come onto the show, and he agreed to do it. And we talk all the way up to the show. I tell him how it's going to work. Send him the link. Blah blah blah. Day of the show, nothing. Ghost. And
really?
the very first thing you always think of is that they're okay.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't get mad. You don't get mad. You get concerned.
Yeah, right here. Gory B movie. She says we did have George Romero cancel a Crypticon, and tons of guests got upset, but then he died a week later. So I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. You never know what is happening in their lives, so that like you hope that their health is okay. The first thing.
That's the first and foremost thing, and if it isn't, you're in the wrong business,
right?
Because they're people. And and some of them have bad things happen, or they get hurt, or they get sick. With Tim, none of that. He just flat out ghosted me. And I'm sitting there like watching him on his Facebook page, and he's very active. He's active. They have that little green button, and you just know that, because when I asked him, I'm going like, hey, where are you? Because I saw that he was active. Where are you? I know he saw me. I know he saw my question. Are you okay? No answer. So the next day, I called. I pinged him. I said, hey, what's up with last night? And he said, well, I was really sick, and I was in bed, and yeah, I could see that you were not any of that. I knew and I knew that he lied to me.
Yeah.
For one thing, his professionalism worked against him, and the fact that I just said, I just say, look at it this way. How would you feel if I was the promoter and you and I were doing a show and I did that to you? If you showed up, you drove 500 miles, or you saved a day or a night to come on and do a show, and I ghosted, and like, I don't expect that to happen with people like Tim, because he's been in the business for years.
Yeah.
He knows he knows better. And he just flat out did. I mean, he could easily have said, he could easily have answered and said, hey, I'm not feeling too well tonight. And I would have said, fine, we'll come back, we'll reschedule. But when he doesn't answer at all, that's not professional. Luckily, that's only happened a couple of times.
Right.
And all the interviews I've had, I've only had a couple of times where that's really happened. And sometimes, sometimes some people do cancel out really, really late. And that leaves you with a dark room. I call it a dark room, which means you don't have any show. And that really, that hurts the pod, because if you're saying you're coming on Tuesday, certain time periods, and you're not showing your show at that time, there's a chance that people won't come back, because they've already like, hey, notify me. I showed up and there's no guest. So I planned to be here, planned to watch, and now there's nothing. So
Right.
that leaves you really in a bad spot. And you try to your very best to avoid that, like rescheduling back within a week or so, because you want those people to come back to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, that was the worst case though. The one with Tim Shockley was the worst.
So I totally understand if you're lying and bullshitting, that's a one and done thing. You know what I mean? Because that just kind of breaks the trust. That's just a shitty thing to do. How many strikes is it until the person's out when it comes to rescheduling? Because like you said, like Gory, like she said, you don't know what's going on with them at that moment. How many times is it like three strikes you're out with you? Because I know there's one person that's two strikes and we're out, and for both of us pretty much. But how much leeway can you give a person until you're just like, it's not going to happen, and then you're just like, if I want to interview you again, I'll reach out to you.
I've only had that happen twice. Once
Yeah.
with the aforementioned gentleman.
Hmm.
I never reached back out to him. No
Hmm.
reason to. Not interested anymore. And there was another person who tried to take over my show
Oh,
for his
really?
own. Yeah, yeah. I had a guest on. We were supposed to talk about his book, and he tried to take over the show with his agenda, and didn't work. But he gave it a good run,
What do you
and
do? What do you do in that type of situation? Do you keep the interview going, or
yep,
did you cut
stay
it off, or
professional.
how did you do it?
Stay professional.
Uh huh.
Yep, you stay professional and just let it go. You know, you can still call them out on their BS.
Okay.
But you do it in a way, an engaging way. You don't sit there and try to outshout each other, which we didn't. That didn't happen. But you just sit there and for me, it was fire with fire. It's like
Hmm.
I knew that he didn't. He was a religious guy,
Okay.
and he wanted to sit there and talk about his religion and in the Bible. And the thing is, I was like, I was pretty well versed.
Hmm.
So, it's like it was sort of like I think he was used to people not reading the Bible or talking about it because he was very
Okay.
confident
Yeah.
until we started. Yeah, but that was, and the thing this was is I let him have a little bit of steam, and then I got back into his book. I really wanted to push the book, but
Hmm.
he tried to take it over and push the agenda, and I wasn't going to have any of that. But
Does that make it awkward for you? Like, even after, like say the interview's done and you're behind the scenes and you're saying your goodbyes, or is it just another one of those things you just don't care and you roll with it?
you just don't care and roll with it. I mean, we talked off camera afterwards for about a half hour.
Hmm.
No, I thought, I still do. I think his concept for his book was pretty exciting. And I really would have liked to have gone, come back after he got done publishing it. But it was also a situation where I couldn't trust that. Like,
Hmm.
hey, let's just keep it on your book. I don't trust him to do that. I
Hmm.
trust him to come on here and do the same thing he did before, and it's just like I'm not really comfortable with that, so I'm not going to have him come back.
Hmm.
But as far as I don't have any strike system or anything like that. I mean,
Right.
each interview is its own thing.
Hmm.
Um, and like the same person you mentioned before. It's like even today, my feelings toward that person is one of compassion.
Yes.
Because I really am sad that I didn't get that interview because I
Hmm.
think it's been a really interesting person to talk to.
Right.
So I consider it a loss for me
Hmm.
that I get a chance to talk. But luckily, thanks to you, I got to interview my first professional athlete in
Yeah.
James Fury. So
Hmm.
that made up for it. So I really had a lot of fun with that.
Do you think you will reach out to maybe more professional athletes? If not, maybe on like because I think it'll be a lot easier getting into like an independent or like a call up league. Do you think you go delve more into
I
athletes?
definitely would. I would definitely like to, I definitely would like to talk to a death match wrestler because I don't know if why don't you explain what death match wrestlers
Hmm.
what death match because this is a lot different from pro wrestling. There's
Yes.
pro wrestling and then there's death match.
Right.
It's worlds apart. But tell people a little bit about death match.
Well, Well, like you said, we'll give a shout out to Madman Pondo, who will be returning at knock on wood, February 21st. And I will give you his contact information, Patrick, because he has a second book coming out and he would love to do this. I will hook you up with him. But basically, like Pondo said, there's wrestling, there's hardcore wrestling where you might bleed, and then there's deathmatch wrestling where you will bleed. And they use a variety of weapons, light tubes, thumbtacks, stuff like that. It's not for everybody. And but like you said, when we won't say this person's name because we don't want to trash the person who was
No,
not able to make it, because
no.
we do like and respect that
Yeah, we
person. But
do.
when you saw the clips of that person in action, I know you were shocked because you didn't know what to expect, and it's
Oh my
definitely an
God.
experience. So when I
Yeah,
when I hook you up with Madman Pondo, you're gonna have a lot of fun with him.
I can't wait. And you're right. I did see the clips of the wrestler,
Mhm.
and I was just like I tell people like if you go to a death match, there's one thing you need to do. There's two things you need to do. One, because everybody loves to get close to the action.
Mhm.
That's awesome. Go ahead, get in the second or third row.
We call it
But
the
two,
splash zone.
bring a plastic, bring like a rain shelter, like a rain suit,
Yeah,
because and make sure it goes over your head,
we
because
do
if you're
have.
in the first three of
I'm
if
usually
you're
in the third row because you can see the same thing from third row and front row. I mean, I'll save $10. There are people that wear safety goggles. I once saw someone there with a welding helmet. The fans are just as much fun as the wrestlers are, dude. Like I said, when I
that
get you hooked up with Pondo, it's a blast, and it is not for everybody, but it's an experience
that
you'll
that
never
would be me.
ever
That would
forget.
be me with the welding mask. I would definitely wear that.
Yeah,
You and I could go see a match, and that would be me. I'd be wearing the. That's crazy shit. That was my introduction.
yeah.
When we talked to Gavin and then Madman Pondo, and then
Hmm.
I was just blown away. It's like those guys are insane. How
Yeah,
the hell do you even do that? But
yeah,
see, there it is. There's that curiosity.
yeah.
That drives. Like when you see that, you go like, how wasn't that the first thing you thought of when you went to interview these guys? Like, how do you get yourself psyched up enough to go inside a ring and just get beat to shit? I mean,
And
really
then
get
and
beat
then
to shit.
and do it for decades. Do it
Yeah,
for decades.
and do
Yeah.
it for like $25 and a beer.
Sometimes less. Sometimes less. You can, like, when you talk to Pondo, there was times when he said he only got paid $10, in the early 2000s to do this. But what he did, kind of like what you and I discussed, like sometimes with our interview subjects, it's publicity. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He may have only got paid $10, but everybody's talking about him. So he can get another job here. He can get another job there. So I do hope you keep going with the professional athletes because it's something new and fresh. And like I said, I'll hook you up with his Facebook profile because he posted today. I want to do podcasts. I want to promote my book and stuff like that. So I'll hook you up.
All right.
One thing I always thought was interesting with you, and you bring this up sometimes, like when we're just doing our general talk, you obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, when you were involved in the music business somehow. Were you a DJ at a club once? Is that what it
Uh,
was?
I've
Or a
DJed
promoter?
before. I was what we call a talent buyer.
Okay.
A talent buyer is, and I'm really happy to say that I interviewed my old boss Jimmy Arsenault, and I'm really happy to say that I saw he posted on TikTok that he's going to be starting a YouTube channel.
Okay.
So you'll be seeing him on my channel, hopefully quite a bit going, moving forward. But we're called talent buyers, and basically what we're the ones that put the show together. We go
Hmm.
out there and get the talent, and put on a show. I have DJed before, not like for a dance, necessarily dance, but I was an
Right.
alternative night, and I DJed for about a year. And I can tell you one thing about DJing, that is some seriously hard work.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, now it's a little bit driven by computer, but back then it was old school. You're putting on records.
With the
Uh,
turntables and everything and stuff like that.
yep, yep, turntables, and if you had a couple of CD players, and you could play CDs and line it up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun, but I discovered that's a lot of work as well. But I was a talent buyer, which means I went out there, found sort of same thing like with 8 questions. And
Yeah.
that is I go out there, find the bands, or the bands find me, and then
Mm-hmm.
I would listen to their music and then have them come on and do a show. And I worked in San Jose, California for over 10 years doing that and having a great time doing it as well.
So what happens like for like not to knock it, but we're two YouTubers. If our guest cancels on us, it's disappointing, but and we lose a little bit of our audience here, but lots of times our audience is the same people, so we do know the majority of them will come back. What do you do, or maybe you're not involved at all, if someone you book or you hire or buy, I guess you would say, is scheduled for an event and then they no show and you have a whole concert room full of people with no band? What goes through your mind, or is that something that you don't have to worry about personally?
Well, I didn't really have to worry about that unless it was a show at the Agenda, which was one of the clubs I worked at. Most of the time, the show that I built had 3 acts. You had an opener, you have a main support, and you have the main band. So, like, if one band didn't make it, you still had 2 to go. And of course, if as soon as you know that the band wasn't going to make it, you put up signs saying that so and so was going to make it.
Hmm.
Now, at Marsugi's, we didn't have pre-sales at Marsugi's. That was cash at the door.
Okay.
So I didn't have to worry about that. But at the Edge or at the Oasis or at the Agenda, since we sold tickets through Ticketmaster and then another place, then you have to worry about that a little bit. Like, you have to make notice that the main band, especially if it was the main band. If they
Hmm.
weren't going to show up, then you had to be prepared to give out refunds. If they come up to the show and they say that XYZ didn't make it, then you give back the refund. But more often than not, luckily for us, we were really blessed in the fact that a lot of times that even if because a lot of times what we used to do for some of those people was
Hmm.
not only did we give them their money back, but we still let them in anyway. Because they would go to the bar and we make
Okay.
money off the bar. And we wanted them to have a good time. Like,
Hmm.
hey, it sort of sucks to go all the way up to the venue. Yeah, the band's not playing. Here's your money back. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, see you
Yeah,
later.
yeah. That's not a good look. So what you
Hmm.
do is you come back there, give them their money, say, hey man, go on in, have a good time anyway. Get something from the bar, whatnot, and then you save the money. And you save,
Hmm.
so um, so that was easy for that. I mean, if that happened, and Marsugi's, he just, there was no money to be had, no refunds, so people wanted to come in, still $5. It's
Yeah.
real, still, we always had great bands at Marsugi, so a lot of times people would sit there and say, "They're not there. Oh, what the hell? I'm going in anyway." But that was $5. That's a whole
Hmm.
lot different from the Edge or the Oasis, where sometimes we charge, $18-20 a head.
Yeah.
They weren't exactly going like, "Oh, okay, I'll just go in anyway."
Hmm.
Um, so that did happen a little bit, but not too much.
And Larry Horacata, he says that's good customer service for sure. He actually had a question, and he says, I know you mentioned previously talking about type O negative. Did you ever interview them?
No, never interviewed. Didn't start doing my interview series till I came here to Michigan. But yes, we did. I was part of the booking of Type D negative,
Mm.
and that was an interesting night, to say the least. Definitely.
Have you?
Uh,
I don't know if I've ever missed it, but have you ever interviewed a band on your channel? And
yes.
how
Well,
chaotic can that get with multiple guests in one area, and you kind of gotta corral them, if that makes sense?
well, the very first interview I ever did, like, I didn't interview Type D negative, but I did do an interview. The very first interview I ever did was in Palo Alto at the Edge, and I interviewed Martha Davis from the Motels, and her and I went out for lunch,
Hmm.
as because they're they were setting up, and She wanted to go to lunch, so they said take her to lunch, so I did. And so her and I went there and we sat down and I proceeded to interview her. We sat there for over about an hour and 10 minutes. And we're just talking. And I was asking all these different questions. And she was lovely,
Mm-hmm.
lovely to talk to. And but that was that was my first time ever doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do another one after that until I got to Michigan.
Is it difficult, between, interviewing just one person like her, but then interviewing, like, say, a whole band, like on
Uh,
YouTube, and then you got to worry about, because one thing people might not know, if they're just viewers or people listening to the audio, when it comes to YouTube and live streaming, you got to worry about audio problems, camera problems, and if you have multiple guests, either they're all in a room and they could be louder than expected, you know what I mean? Because they might not realize it, depending on where the mic is, or they might be on different links, you know what I mean? Different little, I call them boxes on the YouTube screen,
right,
you know what I mean? So the
right.
guitarist might be perfect, but the lead singer, their audio isn't working or something like that. Has that ever happened to you? And or how is it to kind of like keep them all on the same page with that many people in a chat, or as an interview subject? I mean.
Well, if they're not there all together in the same room, you really can't do music. It just won't work. It'll
Mm-hmm.
always be, because you know how there's delays on StreamYard.
Mm-hmm.
So one might have a 10-second delay, one might have a 20-second delay, one might even have a 30-second delay. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you try to do a song that way, it's going to come out really messed up. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't even bother doing that. You just if they're all together in the same room, and then you could go ahead and do a song. I always make sure they play somewhat acoustically,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't, like they can't come out and then crank it up to 10 because
Right.
it's a lot of times they're at home, even if they're at the practice space, they're still not set up for it. So acoustically is a really great way and an easy way for a band to do their sound without blowing off the doors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the other thing, the most important thing is get them to do original material only.
Mm-hmm.
If they come on there and start singing Neil Diamond, that's not going to be good because you'll get a copyright strike for that.
Right.
So you might get this is the part that really gets me with
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. It's like I could have an original band on with an original singer doing their tunes and still get a ping on it. And it's like
Right.
that's the band. That's the band's music, and there's no way to tell that to YouTube. Like, you just gave me a strike because of music, and it's like, that's the band who wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
Idiot, idiot.
Yeah. And you still get the strike. Shout out to Wayne Turner. I am slow, but I just subbed to your YouTube channel, Patrick. So look at you.
Oh,
You're
thank you,
climbing up.
Wayne.
One
Yeah.
thing. Let's get to one more thing about the interviews, and then I want to talk some movies with you. Um, I've always told you that a lot of these people, in my opinion, are gets. Like, I love the fact that you were able to get Bai Ling, of all people, because my favorite movie of all time is The Crow. So I'm jealous as fuck that you got someone from my favorite movie of all time.
Oh my
And
God,
she was a fucking hoot, dude. She
she
was
was lovely.
she was so much fun.
Yes,
No disrespect to Spider. I love Spider
me too.
Dabrowski. He's a great guest. I already told you I'm jealous that you got Uwe Boll. I'm gonna get the guts one day to reach out to him on social media. Corn Nemec is always fun. For you, who do you think? And this isn't disrespect to any guest. Who is, in your opinion, your biggest get, and who is your most fun get? If you feel like sharing that.
Sure. Uh, I think my two favorite interviews were with Karen Cleach and Crystal Lowe.
Okay.
Those are my two favorites. Never thought I'd get either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Never thought. That was just a shot in the dark. And then when it happened, that was just like I was blown away. And speaking of Crystal, I don't know if any of you knew this or not. It did come out on People magazine, but about 3 months ago, she was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer.
Mm. That's too bad.
I keep her in my prayers every
Mm-hmm.
day, and she has turned into a fierce director. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's an amazing human being, and I adore her to death. And Karen, many of you may not know the name, but you'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely know the scene that when we talk about that she was the young lady that got cooked on Thanksgiving, the movie Thanksgiving.
No shit. Really?
Yeah, yep. So
That's
I found I discovered her when she was just starting out. She did a series called Adventures Inc. with Michael
mm-hmm.
Biehn.
Oh,
That was
okay.
my first. Yeah, so her and Michael Biehn. Unfortunately, their young star, he passed away of illness after the
Mm,
first season,
mm-hmm.
and they didn't go forward with the series.
Yeah.
Um, but then I saw her again when she did a show called Mutant X, and she's a badass. she's, I'm just surprised. I'm just when I heard that she was in Thanksgiving and she was the one getting cooked. I was just sitting there going like, I don't know what fantasy world that is, but in the Mutant X world, the Carver would have been cooked. He would have been the one being cooked. Um, yeah, I didn't. I was surprised too when I found out.
Yeah.
So
It's sad, but you know what? It's just one of those. And I hate to say it. It's life, and you just gotta roll with the punches and how you can, because we won't say it, but we both have a mutual person in our life that was just diagnosed and is dealing with it now. You know what I mean? Something
right.
like that. But yeah, I hate to say it. That is what it is. Let's go to movies now. Well, one thing I told you about what I love about your channel is you are everywhere when it comes to genre, whether it's schlock. One of my favorite things you talk about sometimes, the shark films. You know what I mean?
Oh,
that you and I like to pick on each other. But what I like about you is you don't have a set genre. You will
no,
talk Hallmark movies because you're a big Hallmark movie fan.
big Hallmark fan.
How,
Uh,
like, are you just one of those guys that I feel like talking about a Hallmark movie today, and then tomorrow, since I don't have an interview, like, because a lot of times, like you said, you have all of your videos recorded and then you have them scheduled to debut. Do you set out? Do you have, like, I'm going to talk about this, 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 and this, and then
yeah.
record, or is it just one of those? I want to talk about a Hallmark movie today. I want to talk
Uh,
about a schlocky fun movie today. Today, I'm talking about a comedy. How do you decide what you're going to talk about and when you upload it?
well, for the longest time, it was really hard to do like dollar theater,
Hmm.
which
Can
was
you
started
explain
by
what? Yes, explain what
dollar.
dollar
Yeah,
theater is,
dollar
please.
theater. I love dollar theater. So there was I actually was going to do this on my blog. I had actually come up with a dollar. I actually called it Dollar Tree Theater, and I was going to do it
Hmm.
on my blog because they were selling movies at the time. But I never did. I never did. I just, it didn't happen. So I think I was telling, I think I had shared that I shared that before.
Hmm.
Well, Hobbs from Hobbs Horror got off the duff and said, you know what, I'm going to do that,
Hmm.
and he did. He got it rolling. He's the creator of Dollar Theater. And so what we do is for a while was anything for $1 or under,
Hmm.
because Dollar Tree was selling movies for $1. Then they moved up to $1.25, so we did as well. So Dollar Theater is a movie that I review that I get for anything under $1.25.
Hmm.
So that could be a gift, that could be a purchase, that could be a filmmaker sends it to me, a present, a donation. If you want to donate to the Dollar Theater and get a
Hmm.
shout out, you guys could do that as well. Um, for the longest time, it was just like whatever struck my fancy.
Hmm.
But it's one of those things where it's sort of like going inside the old video store and getting overwhelmed with choices. Like you sitting there going, like, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
So what I've done is I finally got like a little assembly line.
Okay.
So I have, okay, see if I can explain this. So I have two movies that are set up,
Okay.
always two. And what I do is like when I review one, I move the next one up,
Hmm.
and then I have another stack over here. Then I move that one of those movies to that stack,
So kind
and
of
then
like a conveyor belt type of thing, maybe.
yes, it's a conveyor belt. So right now I'm looking at 4 movies that I'm going to be reviewing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And after I watch a movie, after I watch my next movie, I will take one of those movies and move it over there, and then
Okay.
get another movie from the famous closet, and then put it up there. So I'm actually on a review schedule,
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise you just get overwhelmed. So I've been having a lot of fun doing dollar theater, and
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at my volume 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I realized that I've only done one horror movie
Yeah.
in volume 2. So I know that people like to see horror. So you go ahead and you start filtering in some horror films, so so people will they'll come by and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you're right. I mean, it's as far as Hallmark goes, it's because I need quiet sometimes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do all horror, all violence,
You
all
got to
the
cleanse
time.
the palate. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've already had enough pain and suffering. I
Right.
don't need to watch somebody else pain and suffering all the
Mm-hmm.
time. So once in a while, I do watch a Hallmark movie, because it helps. It helps.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm going to be doing a Gamera movie too, Doc.
Yeah. Doc Kaiju, welcome.
I'm doing a Gamera versus Gaius in a couple of weeks.
Are you a big
Um,
Kaiju fan?
oh yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I've just now started to dip my toes into it. Just recently, I've just now, what the hell? Took me this long. I just now watched the original Japanese version of Godzilla from the
Oh man,
50s. That
so
was
good.
so fucking good. And it wants me, I want to now get into, because I've seen a couple kaiju movies as a kid, and I thought they were fun, but now I actually want to sit down and kind of jump into that universe, and not just the Godzilla, the Mothra, the Rodans. What's that big fucking turtle that flies
Gamera.
around?
Yes,
Gamera.
Gamera.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
It just seems like a lot of fun.
wait till you meet the king, though. The king of kaiju, the one you're gonna fall in love with the most is our boy. Shout out to Gigan. That's mine and Mighty Casey and Ben for Cadaver Club. We're all big Gigan fans. So that's our favorite. We like Mothra, but Mothra is like the kaiju red shirt in Star Trek. She's always dying. She's every movie she's in, she's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, right, Doc? Doc can tell you. Mothra always bites the farm. You can rest assured upon that. And then she'll be reborn again before the end of the movie. But yeah, but kaiju are a lot of fun.
See,
Rodan will actually have you. Man, you might get a little choked up watching the Rodan. Rodan's a different type of animal, that's for sure.
I'll say this, like, I've seen just bits and pieces, and this kind of goes into like our little collaboration that we've done before, and schlocky movies. I'm not saying after the 1950s version of Godzilla they all became schlock, but there's a certain charm to it. The man in the rubber suit, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. Does your love of the kaiju films, the man in the rubber suit times, did that help you with your love of schlock films? And what I mean about that is, you're kind of like me. You do appreciate a well-filmed movie, a nice budget movie, but you also look at the entertainment factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One movie that one day you and I had to discuss, one of our favorite air quotes schlock movies is Pumpkinhead 2.
Oh yeah.
The acting is atrocious. Pumpkinhead is literally a man in the suit, but there's just so much fun in that
Oh,
film.
I love that movie.
Is that what it is for you? A lot of times, like, you can overlook the bad production value and blah blah blah, as long as you're entertained for 90 minutes. Is that what it is when
Oh
it comes
yeah,
to
I'm
schlock for you?
totally entertained. I'm sitting here watching Andrew Robinson, played the Zodiac in Dirty Harry.
Uh-huh.
Man, I'm watching him play a good guy for a change. That was like
Yeah.
so amazing. And then one of my crushes in the '70s was Karen Kay. I
Hmm.
mean, I was just like, oh hell yeah. Yeah, I went and saw that at the theater.
Really?
I didn't, yeah, I went and saw that at the theater. I was, and then I saw, I didn't know much about it other than it was, it was at the theater. It was a horror film. And then
Hmm.
I went and then they put the opening credits. They put Andrew Robinson. And immediately I thought initially he was going to be the bad guy
Yeah.
because he was in Dirty Harry.
And well,
Um, and
Hellraiser
then,
and even Child's
yeah.
Play 3. Yeah.
And then next thing you know, pops up in leather Pumpkinhead as the sheriff, and then
Yep.
Karen Kay, and I'm going like, what? That was like one of her last roles before she
Yep.
retired.
Yeah.
And I was all in. I had a lot of fun with that.
What's one of your favorite schlocky movies? When I say, I mean no disrespect when I say this, but what's one of your favorite bad movies? What's one that is
Man, I
literally
love a
you
good.
could sit
I
you could
love.
sit down, you could put it in the DVD player, and this is like perfect comfort food for you. You'll never get tired of it, no matter how many times you watch it. What's your comfort food when it comes to a schlock film?
Man, they're not really necessarily schlock, but man, I
I use
love
it as a
watching.
general term. I use it as a general term.
Okay, I love Starship Troopers.
Oh, I
That's my
fucking love that movie so much.
that's one of my very favorite movies. I could do lines off that, like people
Medic.
could do. Yeah, medic. Uh, put your hand on the wall, trooper. Uh, and
Yeah.
yeah, I love that movie because it has Dina Meyer and Casper Van Dien. I mean, it's just a fun ass movie.
Jake
Uh,
Busey is hilarious in that movie. I
Jake,
love.
yeah, everybody needs a friend like Ace.
Mhm.
It's I like Starship Troopers quite a bit. I like the loud type movies sometimes,
Okay.
like Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim is another movie that I absolutely love. It's just I could do lines off that movie as well.
Mhm.
And that's just a ball of fun. Um,
I gotta
but you know what
revisit. I
though?
gotta
When I'm over,
revisit. I gotta revisit Pacific Rim because I am not a Charlie Hunnam fan at all. There's just something about him. I don't know if I got sick of him on Sons of Anarchy and that ruined it for me. He's just one
yeah,
of those guys that like if he's on screen, I just kind of want to click it off. So I will eventually go back and give it a shot. But based on your recommendation, a lot of you and me, our movie tastes are very similar. Wayne says Leprechaun 3. Leprechaun Goes to Vegas. We know how much you love your Leprechaun films.
that's so fucked up. That's that's so fucked up. So I like you know what though it's lucky that I have a lot of good schlock myself because that
Mm,
evens the playing field. But yes, I got forced to watch Louise Warren.
mm.
But thank God you didn't know about her. Like
No, never heard of her.
if you had known really how much I just hated her, I would have been watching 5 Louise Warren films, and that would have been just like traumatizing. Um, she's the UK version of Dustin Ferguson. Uh,
Here's a question I got for you. Let's go back to the interview just for a second. Let's
sure.
let's say you get a director or an actor, and they're trying to promote a movie. What do you watch their film first, or do you want to go in blind so you don't have that opinion stuck in your head? And what happens if you get that? Have you ever gotten an actor or director where you didn't like their product? And does that make it kind of awkward for you? Has it ever happened? You don't have to say who if you don't want to, but has it ever happened with you?
Yes. It happened to me when I started writing on the blog.
Uh-huh.
So I approached a director, and he's a
Hmm.
good friend of mine now. So his name's Michael Cassie, and I've done a lot of his films. Um, and I met him when I was doing the blog, and I was on Twitter,
Hmm.
and so I introduced myself on Twitter, and I said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing a questions with?" And he was just got done doing his first film called and I knew his name because he had written a movie called Hangman. He written
Okay.
it with Al Pacino and Carl Urban, and so he was just got done doing his first directorial debut, and that was Hunter's Moon. And I asked him, "Would you be willing to do an interview with me?" And he said yes. And so I went to the local video store, and I saw Hunter's Moon, and so I got a copy of it, and I came home and I watched the movie, and I wrote my review, and my review was, it was honest.
Mhm.
but it was a little bit rough, it was and but this is before I really truly understood the movie business as I do now. Like back when I first started to what I know now is
Mhm.
light years. Now I can see a movie and see it through their eyes as well as my eyes, whereas before
Mhm.
I couldn't because I didn't know. So I went ahead and I wrote my review and I posted it, and then he comes up and he says, "Yeah, I'm not going to be able to do the interview, man." He
Mhm.
says, "Yeah," he says, "Lionsgate would not be too happy knowing that I did did an interview based on your review."
Mhm.
Now he wasn't mad at me at all. He
Mhm.
wasn't mad, and he says, "So maybe we can work that somewhere down the line."
Mhm.
And so what I did was I had a friend of mine who was doing a podcast, and I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, man, I got somebody you can interview. I got a director," and I told him who it was and what was going on, and he got really excited because this is a big step up for him and his podcast.
Sure.
So I came back to Michael. I said, "Hey, man, I got if I can't do the interview, at least I can get you one anyway."
Mhm.
And so I booked him on my buddy's podcast, and he went on there and had a kick-ass show. And so I learned a lot from that. I learned that from now on, it's like you never post a review of the movie before an interview. You just don't do it. Whether you
Mhm.
like it or don't like it, you don't post it before your interview. Get the interview first. That way you get the interview first, and then if they come back there and you don't like their movie so much or whatnot, at least you got the interview,
Yeah.
and it's a clean interview,
Mhm.
and you won't get told no. Now that's not being dishonest, because the first thing you're doing is you want the interview. If you
Right.
want to write a review, or you want to you want to talk to the people behind the door.
Mhm.
Again, like, do you want to hang out in the chat with 30 other fuckers that are, talking about the movie, or do you want to go behind the green door and talk to the wizard? Me,
Mhm.
give me the wizard.
Mhm.
Uh, I learned a valuable lesson from that. And like I said, Michael Cassie and I have become good friends. And in his movie that he did last year called No Tears in Hell was my second best movie of 2025.
Wow.
That movie is something else.
Mhm.
It's brilliant, but it is not for everybody. But it is really good.
Mhm.
Um, in fact, he just got done finishing his new film called Rough Draft, which features a favorite of yours, as a matter of fact, in Jeff Fahey.
Oh, I love Jeff Fahey. He's one of those actors. Like he can be in a great movie. He can be in an awful movie, or he can be in a movie that no one exists and it's both hit and miss. But he's one of those actors that every time he's on screen, he brings it. And it doesn't matter
What
how
do you mean
big or
by what do you
it
mean
doesn't
by bad movie? Has he ever
well,
done a
okay.
bad movie?
I mean a movie you don't enjoy. Like Darkman 3, Die, Darkman Die. That movie is shit. But he's the villain and he chews up the scenery. He's so good in that. The Lawnmower Man. That's a fucking acid trip of a fucking movie. You know what I mean? When we talked about
Uh,
that a little bit when you had Barb on your channel from Fear of the Talking Heads. But Jeff Fahey freaking brings it.
he
Or if
does.
it's a small role like in Psycho 3 of all fucking movies, or
Maybe Shark
Planet
Huntress.
he wasn't in it enough. And Jeff, God bless him, could only do so much. But if it's something like Planet Terror when he's the cook, you know what I mean? He literally has maybe 10 minutes screen time. He still brings it.
Right. Yep.
He's so good. I watched anything with that man, including Shark Huntress. Asshole. Speaking of,
uh,
let's go to that. I know you haven't really reviewed that many, to be honest, but there is a little ongoing thing with you and me with shark movies. Are you?
right.
I'm putting you on the spot. Are you actually a shark movie fan, Patrick, or is this just a gimmick to bust my balls?
I like a good shark movie.
Okay.
Like when we were doing our Sharks versus Schlock,
Hmm.
like we were supposed to do, four movies, trying to get into each other's head. I did try to pick, a good movie, like Open Water, or I thought that Black Demon. would be a really good, strong movie because it had Josh Lucas in it, and I pretty much trust anything that Josh Lucas does.
Hey, Swamp Shark was a lot of fun, dude.
Swamp Shark was really cool too.
Yes.
Sometimes those sci-fi movies will come up there and they will surprise the hell out of you. They're fun and they're cheesy, but once in a while, man, it's like, they're fun. I've reviewed a handful.
Right.
I've only reviewed like 7 movies and 1 documentary. So that's not really a lot. But I do like a good shark movie. And I like a good nature amok movie.
Yes, I want to see. I love animal horror movies. When it's nature gone amok. You know what I mean? I want to see Primate that just came out this weekend. You know what I mean? With that chimpanzee. Even though sometimes those movies are super hard to watch, like Cujo breaks my heart every time I watch that, because Cujo is just like you said, he's just an innocent victim. He's chasing a rabbit down a hole and gets bit and gets rabies, and it's a sad it's a sad movie knowing that it's an animal. But there's just something about nature, you know what I mean? Whether it's something like, alligator or piranha, there's something about nature taking out man. Or Willard, one of my favorite animal movies is Willard.
Right.
I love the original, but me, I'm a Crispin Glover cultist. That remake with him from 2003 is so good. There's just something about nature films or nature horror movies, animal horror movies that it's really, really, really good.
That was actually my very first booking I ever did at the Edge, was Crispin Glover.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How did that happen, dude?
He was touring on, he's a filmmaker as well, and he was touring on his movie called What It Is, or What Is It?
What Is It? Yep.
And the movie featured a cast of Down syndrome actors.
Yep.
And he was touring on that, and so I saw that and went like, that would be an interesting booking. And I went to our boss, our owner, and I said, hey, I want to, because I was looking for something to book, because at the time I hadn't done anything quite yet. I was just doing the agenda, but the agenda was doing really, really well. So the owner said, yeah, I could take a chance. Go find yourself a show. And so I saw the Crispin Glover one. I said, this is the one I want to do. And so we booked the show, and it was a seated show. So we had to get chairs, we had to get a projector and whatnot. And I went to the airport and picked them up. And the one thing that really surprised me right off the bat was exactly how many people recognized him. I really didn't think anybody recognized him. Really, I really didn't. I thought, well, I'm going to get in here, but everybody did. And it was just like, holy shit, this is amazing. And I was really happy about that because, I was telling him, but, come out and see him. He said he's going to be playing at the Edge in Palo Alto tonight. So we got him. He was very quiet, but very polite, very quiet. And then I took him in, and we had a good show. Of course, Jimmy almost blew a gasket though, because he didn't know what the movie was. And when he saw the Down syndrome, he got really sort of, he came looking for me. He says, "What the fuck's this?"
Right.
And it's his, because his son has a son has Down syndrome. So he thought it was like, he initially thought, is this a comedy? Is this going to be funny? Is this supposed to be fun? No, not at all. Not at all. Because he was livid. He was really, he had tears in his eyes. And I'm going, no, man, calm down. It's not anything like that. That's not, that's not what it is.
He just happened to hire just actors with that. That's all it was. He's not poking fun at them. He's not mocking them. It's just a story. And he, like the sequel, the lead actor has cerebral palsy. You know, because he's still trying to get that trilogy made. He's just getting people with, I hate saying it now in 2025, disabilities, and he's showing that they can do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's giving them a platform. And you motherfucker, I've known you for this long, and you know how much I love Crispin Glover, and you're just now telling me this. I am freaking jealous, dude.
I was, it was a good show. It wasn't the best show, but it was the most interesting show. It was a good, I didn't lose money. And
Right.
that was the one thing. I'm going over there going like, okay, how do we do at the bar? Well, the bar was like, it was okay. It's just enough.
Uh-huh.
We made a little bit, and and the people were coming in and walking in, and we managed to make a little money off the show. So I was like, oh, thank God! I mean, I could do this again. That was what I was thinking. I was so nervous. Like, man, if nobody shows up here for this, I'll never get another crack. I'll
Yeah.
never will. But we made some money off the show.
Uh-huh.
We got a lot of critical acclaim, and a lot of people wrote up about the show, and so got a lot of good publicity, and everybody seemed to really have a great time. And so did Crispin, and so I got to talk to him for a few minutes, and he gave me a couple of autographed books that I still have,
I'm
and
so jealous.
yeah, so yeah, that was Crispin Glover's story.
Oh
But
my God.
I'm with you. I
I'm
think he's brilliant.
I'm so jealous, man. I'm like I'm like legit jealous of you right now. If you were in front of me, I'd punch you. You know what I mean? I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm joking. I love that man, whether it's, and I wish people would give him more of a chance, whether they're in the business or as a fan. He's more than just George McFly. He's more than just this weird, eclectic actor. You know what I mean? His dad was Bruce
Right.
Glover of all people. You know what I mean? Whether it's The River's Edge
Yes.
or oh my God, he's over the top in it, and that's a
Yeah,
rough movie, but
it is.
he's so good. It's such an underrated and underappreciated movie, The River's Edge. Um, Whether it's his little role in something like What's Eating Gilbert Grape, the man can act. But I also
I was thinking about the thin man, the white man in
Or yeah,
Charlie's Angels.
yeah, The Thin Man and Charlie's Angels. It was his
Yeah,
idea to make it that there was no dialogue. It makes that guy more dangerous and creepy. You know what I mean? But what I love about him is he's an acquired taste. I've always been a fan of Andy Kaufman, his performance art. Crispin Glover to me at times is to me like an Andy Kaufman. We've seen his
right.
interviews on David Letterman when he's dressed up like Rubens.
But he's not mean. That's the thing between
No,
Crispin and
no, he's
Crispin's a
doing it.
really gentle guy, really.
He's very gentle. He's very soft spoken, and people just they know him as the guy who refused to do Back to the Future 2 because they think he asked for more money. Well, if you actually talk to the guy, there's a lot more to that whole situation, and it's because of him. Now actors have to give permission to use previously used footage in like sequels and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's right. That's
uh,
right. And he got sort of I think he got sort of blacklisted after
oh, he
that.
did. He did big time. He did big time because
Yeah.
when you piss off, and he always says it's Bob Gale, it wasn't Spielberg because he's worked with, and it wasn't Zemeckis either. He says it's Bob Gale because he's worked with Zemeckis since in that motion capture Beowulf movie. So man, I'm so fucking jealous of you right now. But you know what?
Um,
We're gonna end on a happy note, Patrick. I'm at my point where I'm out of my questions, aside from my two ending questions. If you're ready.
sure.
All right, Patrick, it's 48 hours. The weekend, you have no, you have, like you have no problem with social media. You're not having car problems. Paladin is being extra nice to you today. No interviews. What does Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View? What does he do 48 hours just to relax, decompress from life? What is your go-to decompression routine?
Wow. Well, considering that I'm borderline homebound,
Mm-hmm.
so I probably do some chores.
Mm-hmm.
Um, get out there, do laundry, and fold clothes up, and plan out, plan out something new, for the channel. See if I
Watch
can,
a few
see if I,
IFC movies, as
yeah,
Bayan says. Yep.
that's right. Pick out, watch them, because I've gotten a lot of TV series the last couple of years from the library, and so I probably would watch a few episodes of that, getting ready for RetroTube, um,
Mm-hmm.
which is a lot of fun, by the way. And if anybody wants to come up there and watch a TV episode with me, let me know. It's a lot of fun.
Please
Um,
tell us what RetroTube is. It's something you just started.
so RetroTube, because I got, like I said, because I gotten so many TV series lately. what I decided to do is just pick out random shows that I've gotten, and then pick out an episode and watch it and deep dive on it.
Mm-hmm.
Between 25, 30 minutes, not too much. And then talk about it. And a lot of, they're all, a lot of my series are all over the spectrum in terms of when they were released. I've done, from the 70s, 80s, 90s. It could be anything. It could be a documentary. It could be a comedy.
Incredible
Um,
Hulk.
oh yeah, I did one for the Hulk. I
Yes.
did one for the Hulk. I did one for the one that surprised me was the one for the Gallant Men, which was
Mm-hmm.
a single season series that ran in 1965. It only ran the 1 year, and man, people have been finding that one a little bit, and I'm a little bit surprised, pleasantly surprised. Um, I don't have a conveyor belt for that yet. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still going on feel for that. Um, so, but I do know these are shows that I really enjoy, like The Mentalist, which that's a that's a really good series. That's a
Mm-hmm.
really interesting series, and one I relate to a lot. Um, I enjoy that quite a bit. And then you just and then you write about it, and pick for a different, like not just the first season, and the first episode, though I've done that a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought that if you just do one series, like I know there's this one of the members of the community, he's doing the X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my lord, he's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
That takes a lot. Because that takes a lot. I mean, if because that was 10 years.
I'm not gonna lie, that'd be too much effort for me, dude. That would
That'd be
be.
too much effort for me too. I would lose focus after maybe like the third or fourth season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's why I like just I pick out random episodes and then talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully encourage people to seek them out. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Final question, Patrick. We know I always end with this since we don't know how long we are here on this earth. Let's say that you knew that tomorrow is the day. What is, Patrick from Have Cheetah Will View? What is your final meal? No limits.
First,
No limits.
first of
Like
all,
I've had people do the whole appetizer, da 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 da. My friend Melissa, she was happy with Kraft mac and cheese and strawberry ice cream. There is no wrong answer. What is
uh,
Patrick's final meal? No limits.
First of all, I would be fucking overjoyed that it was the last day. And I know a lot of people would be like fearful of that. I would fucking embrace it with arms and legs. Um, as far as my last meal goes, um, I would probably, I'd probably do lasagna and a nice
Mm,
big salad, and iced tea,
okay,
and I give the cheetah, I give him some prime rib.
nice. Now your lasagna, is it veggie lasagna, meat lasagna, just cheese?
Oh,
How how you going, buddy?
meat lasagna,
Yeah,
ricotta cheese, and and all the good stuff. Make it nice and gooey, and give me the whole damn platter.
I love it when we make lasagna. I always make sure I always like to keep it in the oven a little extra, so when you pull it out, you get those corner pieces, you get the crunch.
Right,
I
right.
love that.
My mom used to make it just like that. It
Yeah.
was awesome. Homemade. There's nothing better than homemade lasagna.
Fuck no,
There
dude.
really isn't.
There's. I mean, in a pinch, those Stofers or whatever microwave or oven made ones,
Right.
they're fine in a pinch, but there's nothing better than fucking homemade lasagna. You're right. Good for you,
No,
dude.
no. Best thing on the planet.
All right, Patrick. So, as if in case anyone's listening to this or watching this in the replay, this is January 9th, 2026. Patrick, what do you have coming down the pipeline? Anything you want to promote for your channel coming up that or anything in general? Any interviews, anything you're looking forward to discussing in general?
I have my calendar. Uh,
Attaboy.
yeah, you can't if you're gonna do interviews, boys and girls. This is the first and most important piece of equipment you could get. It's an
Mm-hmm,
old school calendar.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna be interviewing. I'm gonna be interviewing next week. I got 3 interviews next week. We're interviewing Daryl Hook, also known as Mr. Meat Hook. He's got his
Okay.
first movie out, Stoner Snake, which I watched. That thing is hilarious.
Stoner
That
Snake.
thing, Oh my God, it's so schlocky. Is awesomeness.
Okay.
And he has a cast of many. He accidentally created a potential sequel out of that, a spinoff. There's a character in there that deserves their own film and has to happen. Um, so I'm interviewing him on the 14th. And then next Thursday, I'll be talking to Ken Sledge from Sledgehammer Horror.
I
He's
like
going to come
Ken.
over here, and yeah, I love Ken too. Him and I talk a lot. We're secret sports fans, and so we talk a lot of football and baseball behind the scenes. So he'll be with us on the 15th, and then I have my first TikTok, my first TikToker as far as in the music movie business, Carolyn D, and that will be next Saturday at 6 p.m. And she's very cool. I met her through Jimmy Hill, who was one of the stars of Skinamarink. So that's networking. So we're gonna be talking to Carolyn on the 17th. And what else? I got one more here, and we're
shoot it
talking
out, dude.
to we're talking to our new guest, Christy Newton. She runs a Facebook group called Madam Cadaver's Horror Reviews, and she does horror reviews and runs like I said, a really fun Facebook group, and a very nice person as well. And I'm looking forward to talking to Christy. Yeah, she's cool. I like her.
Do you want to throw out your TikTok information if someone wants to follow you on it?
TikTok is just type in Have Cheetah Will View, and I'll pop up. And if you guys want to follow over there, please do. And I post over there as well. So far, mostly text. TikTok is just it's a different animal, that's for sure. It's not really promoted. It's not. I tell you one thing, it's not really promoting friendly. If you're not on TikTok, if you're coming from another platform like YouTube, they don't like us too much over there. TikTok does not like us. But I still post over there as well. I'm still learning the ropes. I don't really know anything about it over there. They keep wanting me to go live, but I don't think it's really worth my time because they take down your live like a month later.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's no point. I'd rather do it on YouTube so it stays up.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
right.
Mayan says you're doing great on it, so there you go.
Oh yeah, we were talking about cats earlier. If you follow me on TikTok, rest assured you will be getting cat videos, guaranteed.
Hey, you know what? Whether it's cat videos on TikTok or the occasional fucking shark meme I get from you on Messenger, or hey, there's a new shark movie coming out, and I literally just respond with no. It is what it is. Patrick, this has been fun. It's been enlightening. I've known you for a long time, and I've learned some stuff that I never knew about you. I really appreciate you sitting down for an hour and almost 45 minutes. Just shooting the shit, talking about your life in general, and I really appreciate that, man. This has been a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm glad you decided to do the interview. I look at other people doing it, like yourself, and I like the fact that there are other people out there that were inspired to do it by 8 questions. That is an honor. I'm
not just blowing smoke up your ass. You're the person that gave me the idea to do it. Because you've told me that, I've always said we're our own worst critics. And you always tell me I'm a great host. I always say, I think I suck, I stumble, yada, yada, yada. And that was with me doing my live streams with Alex and being guest spots, guest stars, I guess you would say, on other channels, this and that. And you kept, Eric, do an interview. Eric, do an interview. You know what? I'm about ready to tell you, fine, I'll do an interview. You just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? But then, just joking around. But eventually I got that bug. And then God rest him, my first interview was with Gavin Alexander.
Yeah.
I still think about his anniversary of his passing was just last month. And God rest him. But after that, the momentum started picking up. I started doing just friends who I knew. You know what I mean? Yeah. Derek from Yesterdays and Whitey the White Guy. And then I started branching out to more pro wrestlers. And then look at me now. I'm pretty proud. I've had Adam Marcus. He was my golden goose. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Lauren Marie Taylor, Beatrice Bupley, and now I'm reaching out, and I've gotten a lot of more interviews going. So I'm personally going to tell you live in front of everybody, thank you for busting my balls and kicking me in the ass to get me to start doing these interviews, because I've been on YouTube for 10 years, dude, and it got stale fast. After 10 years, it got stale. How many times can I fucking pick up? Oh, it's Halloween 6. This is what I like about it. This is what I don't like about it. But I've told you, I now really enjoy doing these interviews, this one-on-one stuff, because like you said, the curiosity. And you can get that back-to-back talk with a person, and then we learn these things. You get your foot in the door, like you were there for when I was talking to Jewel Denial. We started with the adult film stuff, but by the end of it, we were talking about her living in the mountains and the way she would make clay pots and masks and stuff like that. That's the stuff you don't know about these people if you just focus on their main, air quotes, occupation or what they're known for. You know what I mean? Or like,
that's a
Melissa.
great interview.
Yeah,
that's the sign of a great interview is going in knowing that the person's well known for something. And like when my first celebrity that I ever had was Courtney Gaines.
Yes.
And me and Hobbs did that interview, and we were only supposed to get 30 minutes. I told the story to Barb the other day. We were only supposed to get 30 minutes with Courtney, and his publicist says 30 minutes. But I asked for 45 because I think 45 is a good time, for an interview. 30.
I usually try to shoot for an hour.
And so I said, can we get 45? She says, no, he's got, he's scheduled. He's got other places, he's got to pop up to. We were just one of many. And so before me and Hobbs went on, I said, here's what we're going to do. We're not fucking talking about Children of the Corn. We're not talking about it. We're going to talk about anything but that.
Good for you.
And so we went in there.
He's probably tired of it too.
Oh yeah. And so we knew that I know that he had a new record out. He had a band he really was really enjoying. So we talked to him. We started talking about music and art. And next thing you know, we're looking up and it's an hour. We were up there for an hour. Yeah. Yep. So and he wanted to stay. I'm waiting for him to sit there and say, okay, I gotta go. But he stayed. In fact, we're the ones that actually said, okay, we better let you go, because the next person down the line is probably really pissed off at me right now. Saying that's who's holding up our guest. But we had a great time. And that's when I watched that interview with Jewel, and I love the questions because they weren't the usual shit that she hears. And I think same thing with Melissa. It's the same thing. They're always expecting to hear the that again, but no, you steered it away from that. To me, that's a sign of a great interviewer. Tell me something new. Tell me something I don't know. That's my goal when I interview somebody is tell me something that nobody else knows.
Oh, thank you for like I said, for the good words, for the encouragement over all these years, just with the channel in general, the friendship. But again, thank you for inspiring me to go on this new journey with my channel, with it pretty much just being interviews and then my show with Melissa. But the interviews, I'm having a blast, and you've seen who I've gotten over the next, at least schedule coming up. And I just want to say thank you for it, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So with that, I'm just going to do a general thank you to everybody in the chat. Patrick, we had 12 people up. We got at once. That's the most I've ever had in a fucking stream, and it's all because of you and the cats. You and the cat.
That's right.
So I do appreciate you. I appreciate everybody watching, everybody listening. If you are listening on audio, hey, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, a follow, a 5-star review, and a written review would be great. If not, to anybody who is still in the chat or watch this, I would appreciate the thumbs up and a comment afterwards. I always say if you're in the chat, you can wait for this to end, and then you can go back to the video and put in a comment. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
but
helps the channel out.
Thanks to everybody in the chat, and once again, thank you, Patrick. It was a lot of fun and very insightful tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out. And really thanks for the support of Eric. He's worked really hard. And I really appreciate you guys being here to support him. That's what community is all about.
Yep. And you know what? He's not just saying that because, he didn't have to, because some of the shit I've made him watch over the years. So we'll do with that. I'm Eric. That is Patrick. And we will see you, or I will see you. Well, he's not done on this channel. We got some stuff planned that we're keeping under wraps. But you know what? We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Peace.